Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Real Estate Industry Update, a video series hosted by James Moore & Company. Today on the menu, we have an update on the hospitality industry. This is the sixth video in our series, and if you missed any of the others, you can find them on our website at jmco.com or on our YouTube channel. My name is Justina Mueller, and I am a CPA and a Senior Tax Manager with James Moore & Company. I am also a member of our local Hotel and Lodging Association. And today I have a great honor of chatting with one of its members, the very energetic Rupesh Patel. Rupesh is hotelier, hospitality influencer, host of the LinkedIn Live video series titled Hospitality Live with Rupesh. And he's also the owner of smartguest.com, a very creative marketing resource for the hotel industry. Rupesh, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Excellent, Justina. I was trying to hold my energy back. I feel like
how many coffee cups are you in?
Today, 3 so far, and it's only halfway through the day, right? It's lunchtime.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Our industry, the hotel industry, like many others, has seen its share in the last 20 years of its downturns, but this COVID has really hit us hard. And today we're going to talk about some things that are happening in the industry, real estate, and then also what's happening within the growth of it now coming back to a recovery, and it's taking slow. So happy to talk about that today.
Yeah, and I, stalked you online a little bit, and I know that I recently interviewed Chip Rogers, right, the president and CEO of the American Hotel and Lodging Association. So I know you covered a lot of these topics. So I'm really interested to hear kind of how you assess the current situation and what is your take on the coronavirus and its impact on the industry.
Absolutely, yeah. I host a show every week on Wednesdays on LinkedIn, and I'm fortunate enough to talk to a lot of amazing hospitality people, owners, operators, general managers, director of sales. So I see all sides of the industry right now, and I'm just soaking it all in, trying to apply it to my business, and then sharing it to the rest of the world so we can all grow.
That's great. Well, I've heard comments saying that this pandemic has had worse impact on the industry than 9/11 and the 2008 crisis combined. So is this something you've seen in our local markets? I know we discussed earlier that, in this local economy, greater Daytona Beach area, March and April are usually pretty strong months for us because we have the combo of the annual bike week, we have spring break, and the Easter holiday. And this year the numbers were significantly down. I'm talking 30 to 60% down between March and April. So is this kind of what you're noticing as well?
Yeah, when this first happened in March, we were thankful that we had the races in town, which is the Daytona 500, and we were so thankful for that because that really helped us kind of stretch our dollar for the rest of the year, or at least for the next few months while this COVID happened, right? In mid-March, when they announced that everything's getting shut down, was the last week of Biketoberfest, or Bike Week in Daytona. And thankfully that happened for 2 weeks, because if not, we would have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and hotels in Daytona Beach, Volusia County market would have lost millions of dollars. So hopeful for those two events, the big events that happened in Daytona that came through, and we actually did get revenue from that. But as soon as the last day of Bike Week was about to end, they announced they're going to shut the entire city down, which we saw a number of bikers and guests leave on a Saturday when they usually leave on a Sunday. But yeah, since then, it just dramatically dropped to 5% occupancy. There were days that nobody came in besides the manager that worked the entire hotel. And then, we kind of made it through, and Memorial Weekend came around and things started picking back up. Numbers started going down in Florida and in our county. And so they said, hey, we're going to open business back up. And, thankfully for the hotel industry, a lot of hotels were available for essential workers. And in our market, we were open. And thankfully, Volusia County didn't close any of the hotels. I know there are other counties that did close hotels just to essential workers. And those hotels, because I'm friends with many of those owners, they got hit pretty hard because of that restriction. And for us in Volusia County, we were thankful that that didn't happen. So we still received bookings. And as soon as a week before Memorial weekend, we started seeing an increase in occupancy, and it went over 50%. Some hotels went over 60%, and we actually sold out that weekend, which was amazing. Lower rates than usual than last year and the years past, but we were okay with that, right? This pays for our payroll, it pays for all the expenses and some of those things that owners, real estate owners, see every single day, right?
That is. So what do you think? I mean, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what do you think the next few months will look like?
Yeah, it all depends on the numbers. So we're starting in August now, right? And the numbers may go back up. And right now there's no vaccine in place. So, those numbers could go back up as school starts and as kids get together and as they go back home and maybe visit and do some of those things. A lot of kids are choosing to stay home, but there is a percentage of counties and parents that are sending their kids to school, and that's not a choice that we all want to make, but some counties, they're making it for you. And I think at that point, numbers could go up, which could slow down the industry again. All businesses, but especially hotels. And September's our slowest month of the year, and this year I think it's going to be even worse if the numbers jump up. So we were planning in March, April, and even May that all these special events that got canceled, the big events that were summer events got canceled, would move over to the fall and maybe even winter. And now those events are being canceled and just basically waiting till next year to have them again, especially the annual events, which is hurting our industry. There's over 100 hotels in our market, in our region, just within 5 or 6 miles. And when events cancel, that's millions of dollars into revenue. That's millions of dollars in tax revenue too.
The situation looks pretty grim, I think, but I know you are a very positive person, so I'm sure you kind of have a plan of kind of road to recovery. And is there anything that you would recommend for hoteliers to do to minimize the pain of this, and even maybe position themselves for better days?
Yeah, fortunately for us, my hotels are actually doing better than the market in our comp set because of the strategies we put in a long time ago, right? And just the one simple strategy is reviews. Like most hoteliers back last year, even 6 months ago, didn't really focus on that guest sentiment and then what they said online. And that really hurt them right now, where they might have bad reviews online. And guess what? When families are searching for their Daytona Beach vacation or any vacation, no matter what city it's in, they're looking at reviews. It's kind of like Amazon. When you go to Amazon, you compare two items. The one that has the most reviews, you feel more comfortable buying. And so that's a huge topic that I'm passionate about, that I could talk about on how to get reviews for your business. And we do that really well. That's why we're busier. That's just one reason we're busier, right? Another reason is just people and hotels cut their marketing budget totally. They went from spending whatever money to zero, and we didn't do that. We actually doubled down on some of the things that actually were driving business to us, right? Exactly. And that was a game changer.
When I was reading about it, I found some historic data and research that actually proven that the companies that in the depressed markets invest in their marketing instead of going completely dark are in a much better position when the recession turns around and they're finally able to attract more customers. So
yeah. So definitely get reviews, improve your reviews right now, ask for reviews. And the best part about this, I talked about this in another webinar yesterday. I said, listen, you might have 10% occupancy because hotel owners are complaining we only have 10% occupancy. Perfect. This is the time that you have, let's say you have 100 rooms and you're selling 10 rooms a night. This is your opportunity, our opportunity to connect with those 10 families, those 10 guests, and guess what? Get a positive review out of each one of them. Now, this increases your ranking, your rating online, and it shows confidence that hotel or people that are shopping for hotels should book with you because other people are saying that your hotel is awesome, right? And focus on service, which is another thing that a lot of hotels are like, we're too busy to focus on service. And that's a game changer right now, where people want to feel good when they walk into a hotel, right? They still want that service. And that's a big thing. But another big thing that I've been talking about for the last 4 months is update your online marketing. And that doesn't mean spend money. It's going back to your Google listing. It's going back to all your sites that you're listed on and updating it with your cleanliness standards, updating it with how you're doing it at your hotel as far as keeping guests clean, keeping your staff clean, and maybe vendors that are coming into your property, keeping them healthy, safe, and really getting that out there. And so for me, I always say summer 2020, here's our updated standards for cleanliness, right? And keeping our guests safe. And then update your descriptions. That's a very simple task, a tip that you can do right now to start giving the confidence of people that are looking, converting those lookers into bookers.
Wow, I like that.
I threw that into like a three-prong approach.
Well, I think cleanliness is always, at least for me, was always on top of my requirements when booking a hotel. But I can't even imagine in these times right now, that's probably on top of everybody's minds. What are like the examples that hotels are doing to make sure that people feel comfortable and feel like they can be healthy at your property, and any ideas in that department?
Yeah, so back just a few months ago, you would just walk into a hotel and you would know it was clean, right? Typically, you would just know that you're just expected it to be clean. Now you have to definitely clean it, go above and beyond with the sanitization practices of wiping any touchable items in the room down, removing some of those high touch things like a coffee maker in the room. Maybe not be the best opportunity to give a guest right now where they feel like, is this really clean? Because back in the day it wasn't clean. Is it now clean? People have touched everything. The remote control hasn't been sanitized. So a lot of hotels are removing things that are really, really high touch point and providing those at the front desk if guests need them. And now people are saying, and I say this too, is show them that you're cleaning, right? Show them with pictures, videos on social media that you are cleaning. And when they're walking into the hotel, show that you're doing the job. It's not like you were talking about it, but you're actually doing it. So, hand signage at the door, mask requirements if your company or your organization or your state requires it, right? Our organization, our company actually requires it for you to come into our lobby. And that was something I posted a couple weeks ago on social media, and it got a huge following. And people are we want to make people feel safe, comfortable. Yeah. And that's not just people walking into the door. It's our staff. It's our associates walking in. It's our vendors that are supplying us every day, right? With different materials and supplies. We want them to feel like they're safe too. So we require a mask when you walk into our indoor lobby or any place that's public space that you cannot keep a social distance. And that really shows that right off the bat, they're going to feel safe because it's required, right? The next step is the signage on the floors. Next step is what products you're using to clean. We kind of present those, and do you have sanitizer for the guest? Are you providing masks? We have all those things at the front desk. So if a guest doesn't have one, we'll provide you one if you ask for it, right? These are the things that our guests are expecting, and then you have to show it too. So just don't do it, but actually show it, and that's a big, big plus when you're talking about the hotel market, right? Same thing with the airlines. Whatever they're doing, they're not just doing it, but they're showing that they're doing it, right? And that makes people feel comfortable, and it gets their confidence back up.
Do you think the consumer behavior would change in a sense, like people will go more to driven destinations versus flying, or are you marketing more in like a local market where people can drive up to your hotel, or are you seeing people flying from all over?
No, people are not flying, right? There is a small percentage of people that are flying, but those people are flying because of business. A small percentage of flying because of vacation or travel, as far as a destination like Daytona Beach or any other city in Florida. I think this summer and moving forward to possibly to the end of the year, or maybe even first, second quarter next year, it's going to be that drive. It's that local drive market that you're really going to focus on when you're talking about advertising, talking about really targeting people that are going to stay at your hotel. And that's what we're doing. We're really doing these targeting ads, social media, online search, all of those things to really target. And then we're also using old school like email and calls, right, to get business, gain those customers that you had back
talking to people,
last year, right? We have to keep those communications strong, right? You built this audience on social media. Connect with them, show them that what you're doing on social media, and show them what you're doing at your hotel, and make them feel comfortable, and let them tell other people like, oh, this hotel is actually safe, right? And I think that matters right now. And a lot of people are driving a lot. That's why you see cities like Daytona Beach thriving And if you look at the numbers, they're doing much better than Orlando because of the drive market and the beach, right? You could easily social distance just by arriving to the beach and setting yourself down 10 feet away, 20 feet away from the next person. And that's happening.
Despite what we sometimes see on the media, I feel like in our area, people are really following the rules. And I've went to the beach with my kids many times and felt safe every time we went.
Absolutely. I've been going to the beach
You know
ever
where
since
to
the weather
go.
started. Yeah, and ever since the beach started getting or kind of opening back up for like the season, it's always hot in Florida, right? But when
Yeah.
I think right after March and in April, we started hitting the beach like every couple of weeks, and yeah, I felt safe. My family felt safe, and that's what's happening to the rest of the people that are traveling to our city in Daytona. They're feeling safe, and in my brother-in-law just flew out to Montana. He flew there and he felt safe. He just returned, right? And they did the whole outdoor destination, going to all these state parks, and that's what a lot of people are doing. I have a few friends in the RV campground world. He was telling me their industry is probably 1,600% increase in sales, in rentals, in campground reservations. It's just nuts the way that market has thrived, and I'm so happy for them because it's not grim for every single industry. There are thriving industry. And maybe the hotel, this is not our time right now. And I look at it like, hey, it's eventually going to come back, and we just got to continue. That's what we do, right?
Well, yeah, so it's a good point you're bringing me because as an accountant, I do look at numbers and financial positions and forecasts. So I feel like companies that did have strong balance sheets and did, invest in properties are now the ones that will be able to survive and carry on. And a pandemic like that brings up issues that were there in the past for properties that did have issues. So are you anything in the area of budgeting, forecasting, managing your cash flows, really closely looking at your expenses?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as this thing hit, we looked at every penny and we said, where can we focus on and what can we cut, right? We focused on stuff that was kind of related to our quality, and we didn't cut those things because it was a guest facing product or service or something that it was guest facing. We didn't cut those things. We cut some of those things that kind of were like fluff that we maybe like we didn't really focus on payroll as much because we're so busy, right? We're running 100% occupancy or 90% occupancy. You're like, it's okay to have overtime in this week or next week and the week after. We really focus on those hours now and make sure that when rooms got cleaned, they were a certain minute. You had X amount of minutes per room when you cleaned them, right? Stayovers got X amount of minutes. We also a lot of hotels stopped going into the room every single day. And that helped us on our budget when we were talking about payroll. That was our biggest expense. And yeah, so we did some of those things. Our breakfast is limited, so there's no buffet that you're serving at your hotel.
For
That's
your
a
safety as
huge
well.
cost. Huge, yeah, for safety. That's the biggest reason we're not gathering people at a buffet. There are no buffets out there. There are no buffet restaurants open right now, right? And as hoteliers or as hotels, you expect a hot breakfast in the morning, and we're not providing that right now. We're providing a limited continental breakfast, and guests understand that, and we explain that to them before they even check in and before they make their booking. And Bobby, that's another reason why we are thriving compared to guests or hotels that are not doing the update of their descriptions. Because guess what? If I was booking a hotel in Daytona Beach and they said they had a hot breakfast, and all of a sudden I show up and they don't have a hot breakfast, their gym's closed, their pool's closed, I'm gonna have a bad feeling. And guess what? That turns into a bad review. And so it all starts at the beginning that we talked about is update your online descriptions that show what you're doing right now with pictures, video. Video is a huge thing that you can do right now, right? And so all these things combined can kind of get you to a decent number, or at least see yourself growing instead of kind of declining. And yeah, we've had to cut a lot of things in our budget that we're fluff, but it was important. Some of it was important. Like one thing I did not cut was our lobby music. So when you walk into a hotel lobby, like music's my passion. So when you walk into a hotel lobby and it's quiet, it's kind of eerie, right? And that was one thing I was like, you know what? I don't mind spending whatever a month on this hotel music that we pay for. And I think the guest appreciates it, and then also the staff appreciates that there's something going on. There doesn't feel like a ghost town, which in March, end of March, April, it felt like a ghost town when you drive down major highways and major roads. And I live in Orlando, and I drive down major roads in Orlando, and you're like, where is everybody? Especially around Disney, right? And so that was kind of scary. But yeah, we did cut a lot of our budget, and now we're seeing the benefits that we did, do some of those things.
I do feel like we will have leaner organizations after that, but I'm glad you're able to keep your people busy, and hopefully you didn't have to go with layoffs or anything like that. But I know
Nothing major.
I know the industry is facing that pretty significant reduction in employment.
Absolutely, it continues. Hilton just laid off 2,000 people a couple of weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and that was from their corporate office, right? And a lot of people. Here's the thing: what happened when we got the PPP money? These big CEOs of Hilton, Marriott, Choice Hotels, Wyndham, all these big CEOs went to the White House and said, "Hey, we need to support our people." Well, I think the White House, or maybe that meeting didn't say that, oh, they're individuals that own these hotels, right? All these Marriotts and Hiltons and all these brands that you might be staying at are owned by a group of people, or individually owned and operated, and that's where kind of there was like a break in communication. It's mom and pop people that own these hotels that are struggling. It's not the couple thousand people that are working in the Marriott office or the corporate office. It's much, much bigger than that, right? And so I'm glad leaders like Chip Rogers kind of went back and said, hey, listen, we actually have these owners, and there's American Hotel Lodging Association. There's also AHOA, which is the American Asian Hotels Owners Association. They all fought for us these last few months, and a lot of good came out of that. And I'm proud to be a part of those organizations because that really helped. And I got a lot of resources out of that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my disconnect too when I started working with the hotel industry, thinking that the Marriott brands is the whole thing. Versus, it's the brand makes money, but the hotels are actually owned by individual owners. Many of them, yes, family owned and operated. So, and I know you probably advertise that as well on your website too.
We do. We actually have it on our doors at our properties. Like, this is family owned and operated, locally owned and operated, right? Even though it's a franchise, we have to let our guests know that we're not a billion-dollar company or a multi-million-dollar company that owns these. These are families. My wife and I own these properties, right? It's not like billions. We don't have billions of dollars, unlimited funds, and that's what people think when they come into a property. Oh, this hotel is owned by a huge corporation like Marriott or Hilton or Choice, any of those. And it's not. It's a person actually that lives locally that owns this and operates it. And this is their bread and butter, right? And so we really have to market that when we're talking about marketing, kind of gaining confidence and letting guests know. And that's what's really helped us thrive in this market, where we shared, like, we're just people that are here to serve you, right?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, to kind of wrap up our conversation on a positive note, I was wondering, what is a really positive thing you've taken away from this pandemic on a business side, or maybe even on a personal level?
Yeah, I've learned a lot this past few months. A lot of clarity too in your life. When you're thinking about what's happening to our industry, and I mean, I get messages every single day on LinkedIn saying, hey, I just lost my job, or my hotel is closing down permanently. Like, we're not closing down for 3 months, we're permanently closing down, and I don't have a job. Like, that affects you big time, and then you want to kind of help. And so I've just continued learning how I can help people. And so I've done worldwide, I've done mentorship programs for at least 30 people in the last couple of months now, and talking to them about how they can grow themselves, how they can move beyond just losing their job, or how can they grow their career right now when things are really bad. And so I just say keep learning. That's kind of my thing. I just kept learning, right? One day it was something new every single day, and that was kind of my advice I gave to a lot of these people that are hurting right now. And that's what I've learned. Like, just got to keep going, right? And you got to stay positive, and that's what I've been doing. It's tough for a lot of people, and I see it, I hear it every single day. Everyone has a struggle, including me, right? And I think we just stay positive, and good things come out of that, right?
Yeah, positive, flexible, patient.
Yes.
A lot of personal growth for sure. All right. I think that's all the time we had for today. Thank you so much for this very informative interview, and we'll drop links to your media websites and interviews, because you do bring a lot of knowledge to the industry.
Thank you.
Thank you again.